Good afternoon, everybody. Your data is worthless. When putting our pitch together, we was asked to come up with something quite evocative, and therefore we come up with this statement. Today, we're going to look at data in general terms. We're trying to understand, where does data gain its value? This is a pretty big number, 1.7 zettabytes of data. In a recent study by IBM, they found that the travel industry is creating 1.7 zettabytes of data per year. This is actually slightly under what's being produced because they excluded certain data sets from that survey. Before we jump into the presentation, I'd like us all to consider why. Why are we here today? Why was Camino or companies like Offsetdata created? But more importantly, why do we need to innovate? At Offsetdata, we believe that data's true value can only be realized when it has authenticity and integrity. A survey by Accenture found that 76% of executives believe that the stakes for innovation have never been higher, and that getting it right is going to require new, innovative ways of ecosystem partners and third-party organizations working together. The focus of our innovations is changing because the ecosystems we need to connect to have changed. Let's have a look at how things currently are. Your data is useless. Your data is powerless. Your data is helpless. Your data is lifeless. Your data is useless to you if you cannot use it to create and make big decisions. Your data is powerless if it remains trapped within legacy systems and restrictive IT infrastructures. Your data is helpless if it remains dormant and inaccessible and it can't be shared. And your data is lifeless if it lacks context and meaning. If it isn't curated and analyzed, there's no life in your data. To sum it up, your data is worthless. Now, I'm sure you're all thinking, come on, Sam, give us some good news. Well, how do we take your data and bring its value back to it? We make that data verified, authentic, transparent, and most importantly, accessible. Everyone here today is generating data. You're generating data constantly, and I would probably bet most of you are sat on petabytes of historical data. Have you considered that that data is a capital asset for you? Who outside of your immediate value chain would want to have access to that data? Do you know how much that data is worth to them? But crucially, do you know how much that data is worth to you? So how? How do we solve all of the issues that we just saw? We bring that data onto blockchain. Blockchain is a decentralized, transparent ecosystem that integrates, secures, verifies, and brings utility to your data, increasing its value. How, then, can Offsetdata aid you in solving these issues? We remove the complexity of blockchain. Simple. We remove the complexity of connecting to it, and remove the complexity of accessing it. So what is it exactly that we do? What is it that Offsetdata does and brings to Camino that allows us to differentiate ourselves? Offsetdata is a trusted data marketplace. We build our protocols and our solution of our three main tiles that we see here. Submitting your data into a blockchain environment, utilizing our API portal. There is almost zero learning curve to implementing Offsetdata into your existing solutions. And you can utilize us for your data storage. Many of you, whether you're using MongoDB, AWS, we can replace the services that you're currently using, but we add an extra feature where you can now monetize that data within the marketplace. Simple tools and services. Again, remove the complexity. What we tend to find is when we talk to companies, they're so concerned about finding the right developers and the people who can actually bring their information onto a blockchain. We've basically removed all that complexity for them. We're bridging Web 2 to Web 3. We know existing companies, again, they understand they want to be working within Web 3. They know that this technology is here, but they don't fully know how they can do it. How can they seamlessly start integrating onto networks like Camino? Connecting data buyers to data sellers, because as we've seen from many of our previous speakers, AI is here, and AI cannot function without data, just as one use case. And all of you have your data, you're storing it, and it is not accessible by these AI bots that now need it to be trained to give new outputs, to do future projections, preventative maintenance, and services that you're going to need to implement within your companies. And data integrity and verifiability. This is probably key because, as we said before, you cannot release the true value of data unless it is authentic and verifiable. We'd like to think that once you implement our systems, you'll see increased revenue, reduced cost on your side, faster time to market because the service is already there. It's just a case of implementing 5 or 6 lines of code and you can connect into Offsetdata's marketplace. And from there, we believe you're going to get customer growth because you'll now be able to serve a new and wider community within the Web3 space. Authenticity, integrity, and trust. We truly believe these are the 3 pillars that data needs to be built upon. Without this, we're going to be back in a situation where you've got your trapped data, where people are not able to access it, not trust it, and not be able to then implement it into their forward projects. Three reasons to use us. There's more than 3, but these were the main 3 we thought we'd pick out and share with you. But easily accessible common infrastructures. We're running a validator on the Camino Network. Standard compliance and interoperability. We are working with data scientists that allow us to give you the correct modules to pull your data into our platform that complies with AI standards. We're looking at implementing travel data standards. And also, we are part of interoperability. So when you pull your data into us, we are currently connected to Ethereum, BNB, Solana, Polygon, Binance. We have the facility to allow people to put that data across multiple networks. Camino, for us, is our choice because of its speed, because of its cost, and because we really enjoy the infrastructure and how the team's put together. Data monetization, of course, is where we feel you're going to get your biggest bang for buck, if we may say that. You know, the data is sat there. It's doing nothing, but you need to realize that you're actually sat on this capital asset that can bring so much more value to you. I've been working in blockchain since about 2016. Been involved in many public networks, infrastructures, governance, launching the networks. And one thing we've found is that most blockchains try to be everything to everyone. So they become quite diluted. They're too broad in their application. And therefore, when you try and find projects to build on them, they start off great, but then they say, this is not focused enough for me. I'm not getting the support I need. What we've found with Camino is everything to the travel industry. It allows them to be extremely focused, extremely efficient on the services that they deliver for you within the industry. Everything that's being built on the network serves a purpose and fits into what you guys are looking to develop. And for us, when we was introduced to Camino, we instantly found a home there because we was able to be as focused as we wanted to be, specifically to the clients that we feel we should be serving. We're currently talking to 2 companies, both of which validators on the network, Giata, to see how they can bring their non-bookable data into Web3, and how we can then look to offer a verifiability service. And we're talking to A3M with their global monitoring to see if we can take their historical data and see if we can bring that into the space and then allow them to monetize that, because the wealth that is trapped in their existing systems just needs to be opened up and accessible for everyone to come onto. As I briefly mentioned earlier, Offsetdata, we are members of the Metaverse Standard Forum. This means that when you write data into us via the Metaverse APIs, we standardize that data, and that data can then be manifested and pulled across a multitude of metaverse environments. And you can see we've got some pretty big names that are part of this forum as well. We've recently just been accepted onto the Google Web3 Startup. They saw in us some level of solutions that they wanted to bring into the wider conversation that Google's having with Web3 adoption. And to close the presentation, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say, I want to celebrate the opportunities you all have before you. You know, we're experiencing a shift, a paradigm shift in technology that we've not seen since the invention of the internet. Web3 is here. The foundations are laid. What gets built on top of these foundations is up to you. Camino's here, Offsetdata's here, and we're ready to provide you with the services you need. Thank you very much.